This is Shyla. Today we are doing our panel on college experiences with Anushka Goenka from Reed College in the US. Anushka, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you?
Hi everyone, I'm Anushka. I'm currently studying at Reed College. I'm a rising sophomore and I plan on majoring in either economics or political science. Currently unsure, but I'm sure that I want to minor in French. Reed College is in Portland, Oregon. In case you don't know, we have one very famous alum, Steve Jobs. And I think that's how I get people to recognize what Reed College is. But basically, it's a liberal arts college that's, as I mentioned, in Portland. It's a very small college. The student to teacher ratio is 10:1. And it's a really great college. So my days were really weird because there were days when I would have classes only in the afternoon, and days, when there was one day I think where I just didn't have a class, and that's totally normal. But on a normal day, I think I would wake up at 8. My classes start at 9, so I would wake up at 8, probably just go for a quick shower, get ready. I usually would end up being late for lecture, so I didn't really grab breakfast. I used to just grab a cookie and maybe a hot chocolate on the way to lecture, and attend lecture, which was for about an hour. And then we used to have conference based on the lecture. And it was very interesting because this is a class that's mandatory for all first year students. It's called Humanities 110, and it's just basically about it's not just history, it's philosophy, it's political reading, and it covers topics right from Egypt to Mexico to Harlem, the Harlem Renaissance, and everything. So we did a lot this year, and we had a lot of readings. Obviously, we had to do them before class, and we would discuss them in conference. So after I was done with all my classes, all mostly usually are conference style, which is really more engaging because you're able to give your opinion, and the teachers are encouraging you to talk, and it's really interesting to have a conference style class. And I don't think that a lot of colleges do that.
Yeah, what is a conference style class? I don't know what that is. So
okay, a conference style class is just like a meeting. So basically, you have your book, you have your notes, and you're just discussing the reading that you've done, or you're discussing what was discussed in the lecture, which can be about the reading or something similar. And it's really interesting because you learn a lot more about the say if I was doing learning about the Harlem Renaissance by doing a conference style class. I was learning not just about the readings I was doing, but just about what was going on, not just in New York at the time, but all over the US and in other parts of the world as well. And that's the whole thing about a conference. And the thing is, since people are from different places, having a conference style lecture is sometimes just really helpful because you're getting not just the US opinion, but you're getting a worldwide view of everything that's been going on. So most of my classes are conference style, and that's great because there's small classes, so there's a lot of talking that happens. And then usually I would go grab lunch with a bunch of my friends. We would all just sit, eat lunch, discuss what happened in classes. And since we all had to do humanities and we all had the same portion, it was great because we would always it would always come back to humanities and what we did in class. After lunch, I had a job on campus. So usually I would find myself heading towards work. And it was a lot of fun. So basically we would organize events. So all college events would be held or would have to go through us. So if a professor had to book a room or something, a classroom for a conference, they would have to go through the company that they were outsourcing the work to, and I was working for them. And it was great. You know, the thing about Reed is it's not just like a college, it's like a community. And I mean this because my boss stayed didn't just say do this and do that. He used to bake me cinnamon rolls and zucchini bread, and these are things I've never actually tried before. Cinnamon because I just don't like it, and zucchini bread because it sounds disgusting, but it's actually really good. So yeah, they like they really take care of you, and on days that you're sick they ask you to like take it easy, and if you have an exam coming up and you can't really work, they're like, yeah, it's okay, you can work on your exam and stuff. So it's really nice. After that, after my job, which was usually a 2-hour shift, I would head back to dorm, pack up some stuff, and then head to the library, um, where I would spend the next 3 or 4 hours just studying, finishing up on work and stuff like that. And then I would go to dinner again, catch up with my friends. And it was great. We would all like talk about our days and like our day and stuff. And then we would all usually hang out, probably make some Maggie, and then have like discussions of our life, and yeah, do some other work if we had some. But yeah, that's essentially a typical day. I think I'm gonna say the best part is I just think the whole idea of like Reed not just being a college but a community. We all take care of each other, and we all, whatever we do for each other. So there's this thing called the honor principle, which I'll get into later. Everyone wants to take care of you, and everyone wants you to look after yourself, and they all are doing it their best. So like we Read usually has like events for like international students. Like we have boba nights. On Chinese New Year we had a big event, everyone was invited, it was really really nice, it's really well organized. And another thing that's really great about being at my college is this thing called interconnect mentors. So I was supposed to be an interconnect mentor this year, but because I'm not going to be in the US, I can't really do that job anymore. So essentially, it's just a mentor that's there for international students, just to help them settle in. It They take them around campus, they take them around the city. We go on like monthly visits as a group. So the mentees and the mentor go out to a restaurant every month, and it's just a really great way to get to know the city, and also your mentor, who's usually a senior or a, senior to you. And yeah, so I think that the whole idea of that was really helpful, especially to me, because I had never actually seen my college. I had never been to Portland, and it was scary as an experience. But this one experience really helped me. I think the worst part about my college, it's not really about my college. I would say the weather though is not
Yeah,
fun. And I think in like one of the rainiest parts of the US, and it's always gloomy. And when the sun comes out, we're like, wait, what? There's the sun. And I think I would like to see the sun a little more, but yeah.
I can't relate, unfortunately. I go to college in San Diego, but I know the weather is often like a big part of college life and how you feel and how your day goes.
Yeah.
I completely understand that.
The students who read are definitely very work oriented. I mean, the thing, work hard play hard, I literally think that was made for Reed students, because we literally work so hard, and then we just rewind, and like we just unleash everything. So I think that um Reed students are really hardworking. Like I've seen my friends just be so like this, so hardworking. And definitely it helps, because that's what Reed expects from you. All our classes are really really challenging. And like I started off with French 210, which is one of my classes last year, and it was a year class, so I did both semesters. And it was what I did in IB in French, but then the level just it just went up in an insane amount. But like everyone was so hardworking, it was easy to catch up, because everyone wants to help you and everyone wants to support you, and not just the students, the teachers as well. um, I think that's one thing. And I think we're like one of the only colleges that actually does the readings that are given to us. We love reading. And like I don't think I've actually done as much reading as I've done in college as I did in IB. I used to skim through the textbooks, but in college, I'm actually reading the books. We're doing a lot, like, I'm learning a lot more than I did, like, in my whole lifetime. And it's great because I think that's what they want. They want you to work hard. The students are like really, really just unique. I think no one expects you to do anything that like would put yourself like that would make you feel inferior in a way. Like everyone just wants you to be happy, and so I think that's one thing about the students. They just want the best for you. Even like if you're in competition with them, they're willing to help you out, and it's just a very safe environment. So Reed is predominantly an undergraduate college, as in like we don't have postgraduates, as in like we have maybe one or two, but they're doing separately. They're working separately, just directly with professors. So I think that definitely helps because everyone's doing the same program as you. But the way Reed supports its undergraduates are, in a different number of ways. So, for example, we have this thing called the Dorothy Johnson Center, which is the dojo, as we call it. So that's where we have tuitions. Now, basically, what this means is we have student tutors that offer you help on all your classes, and you have 1 hour with them every week for free. So you don't have to pay for that 1 hour. And I think that's a very, very important resource to have. Especially when you're in a class that's so hard, and you're just sometimes just not able to keep up. It's really, really important to be um, to have resources like that where you can interact with other students that have done this class and probably majoring in the subject, and they're willing to help you out with like essays. They're willing to read it, help you out, make corrections, and just offer you tutoring in general. And I feel like tutoring is something that people just look down on, and just they're like, tutoring, it's a weird thing. It just means you're not good at the subject, but I think that's completely untrue. Initially, that's what I thought. I hated going to the dojo. Um, and the whole of my first semester at Reed, I just didn't go. But then after winter break, I started going more often, especially for my humanities class. It was really, really helpful to have someone look at my essay and just talk about it and give me feedback. I think another way Reed supports its undergraduates is just by the way, like just the like other resources we have. Like we have the HCC, which offers counseling, and I think that's super important for a college that like I don't want to say put stress, but it's so hard, sometimes. And I think it's another way, like they definitely help their undergraduates, which is basically all its students, is just by the sense of community. That doesn't like, it's not something that Reed like does. It's just something that exists in our college. There's a very like big sense of community. You feel safe, and everyone wants to make it a safe environment for you. um, we have a lot of like rules that like can help you be at peace. So like if let's say like someone disturbing you, you can do something about that, and it's a safe environment to talk about it. And if there's something like that you're not okay with, if there's someone saying things that are not okay, politically incorrect, like things that should not be said in a space like a college space, then I think there are definitely resources to explore. So I think Reed is really great in supporting its undergraduate students in that way. We don't have grades, so I think that's a really, really important thing. Because I feel like the whole pressure of like having grades is so like it's stressful, like it's just too much. So basically when we give in like papers or we give in like tests or something, we don't get back grades, we get back comments and just where we went wrong, where we could have improved. And like that's how I guess we either do well or we don't, so based on how we act on those comments in our next test and our next paper. So I think that like
I
really
have not heard that from any other college. So yeah. But
It,
how does that work if you don't mind me asking? Like, and then how does that work like with classes overall? Like, what do you get anything finally, or like, and yeah, and how does that like maybe affect you? If you could talk a little bit about, or people that you know when they apply to internships, like because a lot of like a lot of internships expect like to look at like something from a student, but yeah, if you could talk about that a little bit more, it'd be great.
so like, I mean, we do have grades, as in like they are like there are grades, as in like, but the thing is the teachers prefer not to give you your grades, and there's a whole idea of how you like it's it's not that you shouldn't ask for your grades, but it's just the idea of grades isn't emphasized at read. So no one actually focuses on your grade. They focus on your improvement and how you're taking back how you're taking feedback, how you're working on improving your current like writing style and things like that. So when it comes to like applying for like postgraduate programs and internships, yeah, they definitely do have your grades and things like that. But um, usually the idea of grades is not what drives the students at Reed, because everyone just wants to be the best version of themselves, and usually grades puts this pressure that, you know, it's a letter, and we don't want, I think this the whole idea of Reed is not that. We just want to be the best versions of ourselves, and we just want to be great at what we do, and having a grade doesn't necessarily mean that you're that, you know. I think the best part, not many people will agree with me on this, is that so this isn't particularly about housing, but we have PE, like we have to mandatorily do 6 units of PE at our like for like our through our time at Reed, which means that like we have to do 3 semesters worth of mandatory PE for us to graduate. And that means using a lot of the, you know, like the resources. Like we have an indoor swimming pool, which is strange because it's really cold. I mean, you know, obviously they have to have an indoor swimming pool, but it's really like not a lot of people swim at Reed, and Reed is not a really sports oriented school. It's a
Yeah,
very academic
yeah.
school. So I think that, you know, is a great thing, because we're not just doing like basic activities like swimming. We also have Zumba, kickboxing. We have a gym that's fully operational. We have, I remember last semester I took a self-defense class, and I learned so much
Mm.
from that class, you know. So it's not just about like, you know, being active and like keeping your mental health in check, but it's also about just being, you know, like just using like facilities being. So I remember doing Zumba with one of my friends again, and it was not just like being active, but it was also a lot of fun. It was de-stressing, you know, and it was just a great experience. Another thing that I really like about the housing is just the way in which all our dorms are just created. Like they're so open. So the newest dorm, which is Trillium, which is where I stayed last year, is fully like glass, which means,
Cool.
yeah, so you can like basically see outside. You get to see like the trees, you get to see the weather. It's just a really nice place to live in, and you don't really feel claustrophobic. um and I feel like that's important when it comes to college, because usually college dorm rooms are really claustrophobic. There's just one window. You know, you're with your roommate, you feel like you don't have enough space. But thing about like all Read rooms is that you have enough space, and I feel like that's important. And just the importance given to like creating a safe space in all the dorms. So like they have a lot of space, so you can be safe. If you don't feel safe in your dorm room, you can take that up with someone and they'll do something about it. But just the idea that you know, they want you to feel at home, I think is a great thing about the housing at Reed. The food is great, especially after TISP food, I think.
Anything is better, I think.
Is better.
The bar is low.
Yeah. um, Definitely, you know, like I've started eating a lot more ramen and a lot of other weird things that I never thought I'd try. But They also have like they sometimes try and make Indian like palak paneer. They don't really do a great job, but they're trying.
Effort counts. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have biryani and things like that. Again, not great, but it's worth the try. But yeah, again, like our cafeteria is open till 10 p.m., which isn't that late, but um, it's great because you if you feel hungry in the night, which I always do, you can always go there and grab something to eat. And also we have like basically we have like small like cafes that are open 24/7 where we have like sandwiches and things like that. You can just
Mm,
grab them and go. And it's really helpful because when you get hungry, studying in the library all night, it just helps to eat a sandwich sometimes.
definitely.
We have like so we don't like exactly have like freshman dorms, sophomore dorms. We
Yeah.
just have like a mix of everyone just living everywhere, which I think is much better than having it separated, because this way you get to interact with your seniors and you can exchange tips and things like that. You can have a single, you can have a divided double, which is basically a double room with a wall in the middle, or you can have an undivided double, which is just two rooms
Yeah.
which are not divided. You can get an apartment, but I don't think you can get one in your freshman year, and it's usually hard to get in your sophomore year as well. Apartments
You
are
have
usually,
housing for 4 years.
yeah, you
Okay.
can have housing for 4 years, but most people usually choose to stay off campus
Okay.
after the
Yeah.
freshman year. On your in your freshman year, it's mandatory to stay on campus.
Mhm.
Um, just because of the safety and just everything else. Um, and like the apartments at Reed are across the road, so they are on campus, but they're not like they're just across the road. Um, and it's safe and everything. It's in a safe neighborhood and everything. Um, I can talk to you about the pets policy. Um,
Go for it.
you're not allowed to have pets unless you're an AJ, which is basically a housing advisor.
Mhm.
But all the housing advisors have pets, and they are the best part of housing, I think, because sometimes when you walk out the door, you want to see a dog and you just want to hug it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really nice thing, that like it's really nice to just have that, like you miss your
Definitely.
pets at home, there's a dog here.
Okay.
And it's like a nice way to like de-stress and things like that. But yeah, I think like they have disability related housing as well. If you have disabilities, they will assign specific housing to you. And we have like a bunch of like we have like so many dorms. We have the old dorm block. We have Trillium, which is the newest one, which is the glass one I was talking to you about. We have Sullivan and Nato. We have the Grove, which is just a bunch of like four dorms put together, and they have a quad in the middle. So it's just the housing is very like I was actually surprised. I was not expecting really great housing because it is a small college, but the housing at Reed is very, very fancy. And especially in Trillium and the Grove, I felt like I was in a hotel
Mm. Wow.
just because of the furniture and the building and things like that.
Yeah.
So at Reed you can pick your roommates.
Mhm.
I think a better way of doing it. I got to pick my roommate last year and we had a great time. And because we had similar interests, so basically they ask you to fill out a form based on your interests, based on what you like doing and things like that. And they give you options, or they can say you can choose your own roommate. So I chose to choose my own roommate, but they do have options for you based on your interests. um, and like they don't really like have like specific housing as in like based on majors and things, but we do have like we have an Arabic house, we have a French house, we have a Spanish house. So since I'm a French minor, it'd be like worthwhile for me to stay in the French house at least for like a semester for like a full year, because I'll be learning French at the same time, and I'll be uh,
Definitely.
other people doing French too. So we do have that. We also have a women's floor, which is basically just for women or people that identify as women. And we also have a people of color floor. If you just feel like you need to be around more people of color, you feel like you feel safer there, that's for you. So yeah, just things like that. We again, Reed wants to make sure you're safe, and
Yeah.
that's their top priority, and that's that. that I think, you asked me what are the good things and bad things about your college. I think that's one bad thing.
Mhm.
That it is not a very diverse college, quite honestly. We don't have too many people of color. But that may just be because Portland, Oregon is also a place that doesn't have, it's not too diverse. There are a lot of people of color though. There, like most of my friends are Chinese, and then I have one Indonesian friend, two are Indians, and there are people of color for sure, but just not as much as I'd hoped there'd be, which means there's just not as much representation sometimes.
Mhm.
Mm. So, but like in terms of like Indians, Reed College is not some a college that a lot of Indians know about. Like no one knows about it. So, there are like quite a few Indians. Like we have our own chai club, we have desi nights, and we watch movies and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely, there are quite a few Indians, but just um, not as much as like a big college. Like I think UCs. Like I know so many people that go to the UCs. I know like three Indians that go to Reed. So it's like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, the summer before college, so after we finished our IB, I started questioning whether Reed is a college for
Mhm.
me. And partly because I had never actually been there, I had never
Yeah.
actually seen it. I had applied ED, I didn't have any other colleges I could fall back on. Um, and I just started questioning it. And once I got to like, once I literally, we drove past, we had to like drive past part of the college to get in. And once I drove past it, I had this moment where I was like, I'm going to be okay. And it was scary because I only knew like one other person, and he was Indian. Um, and he was on the same floor as me, and we were the only ones that knew each other, so we went around, we walked, we got to see more people. I met two of my best friends, I think just randomly. I think I bumped into one and I said sorry, and then they started giggling and I started laughing. And you know it's a very small college, so everyone knows everyone, and I think I felt at home almost immediately. And not just, I think it's important not just to feel at home in the college, but in the city as well. So I still hadn't felt like at home in the city. Like US is a new country. I was still adjusting to everything and things like that. And I remember I signed up for an excursion. So it was a 3 day trek to Mount Hood, which is like a really big mountain and stuff. And I remember I hate hiking, I hate camping, I hate nature, but it was such a great experience because I got to like talk to people I've never actually seen before. I got to hear about their stories, their experiences, and I formed a bond with people I thought I'd never talk to. I mean, with people I had actually never talked to in like a normal day. So I was forced to like confront that part of me. So I think that was like a really really great experience, also because I formed a bond with the city of Portland and just the whole natural vibe it has. um, and now I don't mind hiking. um, I bought shoes and I have a backpack, and I don't fully hate it. So I think it takes time to develop a bond with your city, with your college. But I think it's important to form a bond with both for you to feel.
Completely agree. Yeah, that's also the thing that like a lot of people talk about. They most just talk about like having the bond with your college, but like especially if it's a small college or even if it's a big college, if it's located in a city, like you need to be comfortable with the city as well. Because after you step off your campus, like you want to feel safe, right? And you want to know that you're gonna be okay. I think it's very important. Yeah.
People are really skeptical about small colleges.
Right.
And that's fair because we have a set of disadvantages, but I feel like the advantages definitely top that. For example, the reason I chose a small college, in fact, all my colleges on my list, those 13 colleges, were all small colleges. And I had one very specific reason for that. It was just because I didn't feel like I didn't want to be taught, like I didn't want to be taught by TA. I wanted to have my face time with a professor. And that's something I love about Read. Even our conferences, right from our conferences to our lectures, we have face time with all the professors, and not just one professor. So for our humanities class, for example, we didn't just have like history teachers. We were talking to the political science teachers. We were talking to the philosophy teachers. We were talking to all kinds of teachers and professors. And I think having FaceTime with a professor is so important because you're learning straight from like this person that's done so much in their life, and they know the subject like the back of their hand. um, Also, like, if you need a recommendation or something like that, it really helps to know your professor. They like the professors at Reed offer like research opportunities. So like my friend right now, she's at Reed and she's doing a research project with an economics professor right now, and she's only a sophomore. So having FaceTime with a professor really helps, just not just in like your daily, like getting to know the subject better, but just in general for your future career as well. Another reason I chose a small a small college, especially one like Reed, was because the student ratio is like 10:1, and I felt like I needed that. I needed a smaller college where my voice was going to be heard, and where I would be able to express my opinions and share what I was feeling about like a particular reading or a particular subject, or if I had doubts, not feel like I was going to be judged by like a bunch of people. Um, because my doubt was silly, and I feel like that comes with a big college. Sometimes there's a lot of like hesitation to ask questions, and that's scary, and I didn't want that. I think it also really helps to like be in a small college, because it's just more like everyone and everyone knows you. So like I'm really friendly with my seniors right now at college. So like the juniors, the seniors that are now about to graduate after they write their thesis, it really helps to hear from them what classes to take, what professors choose based on your major, and what to focus on, what their thesis is about, and things like that. It really, really helps. But also, being in a small college can have its disadvantages. For example, everyone knows everyone. So there's a lot of like, I would say not, I'm not going to say drama, but like, say if you have some problem with someone, everyone gets to know about it. There's not really much privacy, but you also find support in that, because people are willing to support you and make sure you're okay and things like that. um, Also, not a lot of diversity comes in small colleges, because not a lot of people have heard about it, and that definitely can hinder the like your learning experience. It's not, you don't really learn much more about different like people and like things like that. But definitely I think Reed is working on that. We do have a lot of diverse like, I'm not going to say projects, but things going on. Like we do have like our humanities curriculum was changed quite recently because it was not diverse enough. And so I think Reed as a college, it's small and it does have its disadvantages, but I think its advantages are much more you know important, and they definitely top the disadvantages.